Be ready. No dick pics.
If this was the 90s, we could do it and nobody would have a problem.
All right. I think we are live. Let me just check here. Sorry, I'm kind of new to this. I'm even like trying to touch screen on my laptop. I'm so new to this. All right, we are live. Thank you. So welcome everybody. Sorry for the bad intro. I'm just learning how to do this, but we're here with Lime Rising Nick Risden, and we're here to talk with the homie Marcus from Urban Terp Factory. And just a little quick intro. I'm sure most of you guys have heard me talk about this gentleman. It's an honor to have him live, and it's honestly been my fault on lagging on trying to get it lined up. He's been totally willing and down, and you know, we met about 2 years ago at the Regen conference, and we were.
I think it was even 3. I think it was 28.
Might have been 3, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the first seed swap we did, and it was very unorganized, and everyone was just sitting around at tables and stuff and passing seeds, and I was walking around smoking blunts, and I just saw this dude over at a table posted up, and he had a bunch of seeds and baggies. And I just, like, in my mind, I was like, all right, the dude with seeds and baggies is the guy I'm talking to.
Yeah.
He had a good smile. And anyways, we just walked up and we started talking, and I just had been looking at the same crosses, I think, or similar, was the Formula One. It's the same thing as a Formula One, right? But just done differently. Is that what it is?
I think so. Yeah, I think Aficionado also did a black lime. They didn't all. Yeah, they definitely did a black lime Testarossa. I think he might have called it Formula One.
Yeah. And so whatever. It's whatever. But you had done these crosses, and I'll let you fill in the background on that. But you give me these seeds. You gave me some BLR cross Testarossa and some Limevine cross Testarossa.
In particular, I actually gave you 3 phenos of the Limevine: the 8, the 9, and the 3.
That's right.
Nick, I heard you guys talking on the last one about where does those red magentas and shit come from that'll be on the stock of the line. I don't know if you ever grew the Limevine crosses times Testarossa, but those would come from the number 8. Yeah, because that one actually put some color on it. The 9 and the 3 just stay all green. The stems, the leaves, the buds is full green. But the 8 is the one that had the color on it.
And I followed right through and kept picking through that pheno, and so I had planted a bunch of seeds from all over the place that year, and it was one of the gnarliest years I've seen here in the Northwest, where we got a heavy rain in like a heavy frost in the second week of September, a hard frost, and it killed almost everything. And then we followed with rain for 4 weeks, basically the whole flower cycle, and it was gnarly. And I had tagged out a couple plants in those crosses, and I had lost track of the 8s and the 9s and the 7. I fucked up my labeling, so all I knew was that it was the Limevine Testarossa and then the BLR Testarossa.
Right.
But long story short, after the whole thing was said and done, I had remade F2s of them and pollinated them and just like let it ride out, and they were the ones that lasted. And so I cured them up, and I started smoking them. And as I smoked them, I was pulling seeds out, and those are the seeds that I gave out to everybody. And I would go kind of nug by nug, because I had 3 plants that I had selected, and I would go nug by nug and put, okay, this nug tastes like this, let's put them in this pile. This nug tastes like this, let's put them in this pile. And so I had a gassier version. Sorry, I'm getting confused, but with the BLR, but
yeah, because there's not really much gas in the.
There's not gas too much, and much gas at all in the Limevine. It's all fruit, but then the BLR had the gas, and it had this like burnt rubber thing that came out, and I was able to amplify that in the F2 when I looked at the big population, and that's what I really fucking was doing the dances on. And so, anyways, that was a long intro, but dude, really glad to have you here. You've been putting out some good stuff, and the whole purpose here is just to like get to know you, man, and hear what you've been doing. You've been doing outdoor selections and indoor stuff, and so I'll just kind of let you take it away with. Let's start off with the stuff you handed me and kind of what you did, and Yeah.
Real quick before you hand it over to him, he was sitting there explaining the lime vine crosses and everything. You two were going back and forth, and I'm going through my seed vault to try to find the original Black Lime Reserve Testarossa seeds. And literally, as he was talking about lime vine, I found my pack of lime vine.
Nice.
Literally, like while he was talking about it. And this pack, dude, is special to me. I was sick and dying like I always am. And it's tagged Compassionate Heart up there. I got on a plane, flew all the way to California because I caught a video of Shango Los and Mean Gene talking about powdery mildew resistant strains. And I had a thought about powdery mildew resistant strains helping with my Lyme disease. And because the powdery mildew isn't affecting the plant, which hosts off of it, like the parasites that I got from the tick bite, then this shit might help me. So I flew all the way out there. I bought this pack of seeds and I got the Royal Kush 7 from Wonderland Nursery. And that was 3 years ago. And so while we were talking about this, or while you all were talking, I found them at the exact same time I found the original stock of Black Lime Reserve Testarossa F2s. And I got plenty of these here, guys. So I'll actually send both of you all a pack of this. Josh must have put a couple hundred seeds in this pack when he sent them.
Nice.
And that's what I found my selection off of. And that's what I love about cannabis and the story, because it's not just me. My work that I just did, I selected off Josh, who selected off you, who you selected off Mean Gene, who selected off somebody else, who selected off somebody else. And we stand on the shoulders of giants. Like, right. So I'll hand it over to you. I just thought it was funny. Literally, as you were talking about the lime vine and the phenos, and out of 1,000 seed packs here, the lime vine was right there when you said it. And I was like, that's funny. So.
Right. Well, yeah. So yeah, thank you, Nick, for that. Just real quick on the lime vine, I'm in Santa Rosa, California, which if you want to kind of Google that, I mean, we'll get the marine layers. So once you start getting into September, October, you're going to get that real dewy mornings. So something like lime vine or the lime pop kush is going to handle that really well. Yeah. So, but yeah. So yeah, meeting Josh, like it's like the 2018 Regen Conference seed swap. Had given you 3 phenos of the lime vine times the Testarossa, also the black lime times Testarossa, and I think I also gave you that HG36 backcross 3, aka the KC36 times pure Thai times
KC36, yeah,
times Testarossa. Like real quick on that one. That not even real quick. I mean, I'll go on a nice rant about that KC36 because like that shit is super special, especially for fruit lovers. I had grown at least a couple phenos of that, and they were all really, really similar. But they just had, I mean, it's one of those weeds that'll just overpower everything else you're growing when you're trimming it. I mean, your house will smell like tropical fruit and flowers and stuff like that. And that was the Testarossa cross. I'm doing a lot more work with that, and I've done more work with that, including the Popongo berry, which we'll get to. But yeah, I mean, going back to the like the BLR and the lime vines and stuff, the BLR cut that was used again was the bro cut. I mean, I think some people probably know more about that cut than I do in particular. But yeah, it wasn't super like chemi gassy. It was more like grapefruit and lime and stuff like that, like those kind of notes on it. So yeah, and because I know there's different, I'm sure the cut aficionado used for their Formula One was probably a lot different than that, and so on and so forth. And then the 3 lime vine phenos, the number 9. It sounds like you worked with the number 8, because if you're getting like those colors and stuff like that, it had to have come from the 8. So the 8 was really cool because it was a lot different than the 3 and the 9. It got some purplish and it got those red, magenta stalks and stuff. But it almost had this like sherb cookie-ish kind of nose to it. It was really interesting.
Yeah, totally.
And then I have some live resin, I think, from a 2019 harvest of the lime vine number 8 times Testarossa, and it has one of the most unique terp profiles like I've ever smelled. It's like this kind of limey, watermelon, minty type of vibe on it. Like someone recently described it as like almost like a mojito, but with like a little bit more fruit in there. So that, I mean, that shit, and it's loud too. Like it's not like some soft, like it's loud terps on it too. So there's a lot of cool shit in those crosses. The BLR cross in times Testarossa, I did go, I think in 2019, I grew out some phenos of that. And those tend to lean more to like the grapefruit type of vibe. But it's funny, I ended up calling one pheno, like, and you can check my Instagram, I have pictures of it, you just got to scroll back kind of along. But like the structure and the bud and all that was like, it looked just like Skittles. So it had a nice Skittles like back end, but it had this weird like forest pine aspect to it too. And I ended up calling that pheno Rainforest Lime. I thought that was a cool name for it. Like another pheno, I ended up calling Limello Rosé because the rosé kind of did come out in it a little bit. So you got like that floral vibe, but you also had this like lime grapefruit aspect to it too. So there was a lot of interesting shit in that BLR. Again, I didn't even get to play with it that much. And then kind of through a series of weird partnerships and things like that. Like I unfortunately don't even have access to the BLR times Testarossa F1 seeds anymore. And out of the lime vines, I think I have the 9 and the 3, but I don't have the 8 anymore. So if anybody has that and fucking hasn't popped them, dude, I will fucking take those back, dude. Cause like there is gems in that lime vine 8 times Testarossa, like big time.
I'm pretty sure that's the 8. The way you describe it was the one that I had it gone
Yeah.
forward with.
I mean, you had all of them. You had all of them, but
I had all of them, but
yeah,
that's the one I picked.
right.
In it, and I ended up going through 800 seeds myself on that, and then
That's
I picked
crazy.
one that was more vanilla frosting. It was like almost like the wedding cake, ice cream cake type of flavor.
Right. Yeah.
And
Right.
then it had the red stem, and then I pulled another one that was leaned more towards the Skittles, and I put those two on to make the F2s. And I'm trying to think now, as I went through those F2 population, I put that onto the ice cream cake, and that's the one I just put up, the licking ice cream, and it was like,
that.
and it was dead ringer, dude. It was just like you know what I mean. The smell just hit boom right all the way through, and I found the kind. I was like, this is it. This is the turned up ice cream cake, you know, type deal. And so it was, I don't know, super dope. But
the ice cream cakes, no, it's kind of like it's sort of getting played out because it's like it's a very big recreational strain out here in California. But I mean, you can't deny. I mean, there's a lot of, it's the same story with a lot of strains, whether it's like the 41 or whatever have you. Like they're all good. They're just obviously kind of getting played out, right? But the ice cream cakes is like it's nasty. I like it more than the wedding cake, in particular. And like I like, you know, all those Cushmans I'm not really a big fan of, but the ice cream cake has a dirty bite to it for sure. So I mean, I'm sure that's gonna be a bomb ass cross.
I like the ice cream cake, aka runts. You know,
why do you say
you know.
What the fuck,
bro? I don't think they have anything to do with each other. Runts is like 95% 41 with like a slight Skittles something in there.
Totally.
I don't know, bro. I don't know, man. There's sometimes I feel like runts is your straight ice cream cake, like nothing else. But I don't know. I don't know the stories on it. But
yeah.
When you said a minute ago on your Black Lime Reserve or the Testarossa Black Lime Reserve about your grapefruit, I don't know if you saw me on screen. Shannon was by me. I smacked her because Shannon's, you know, got into cannabis by way of my medical stuff. I've been in this since '96, but when we did the Black Lime Reserve Testarossa, Pam, she was like, oh my gosh, this plant smells like grapefruit and lime. And that's all she talked about. And then she was happy herself that she identified the terpenes and it was true. I mean, it's straight grapefruit and lime. So even carrying on to that generation with the Pam even put in, that grapefruit and lime is still strong, very strong in there.
Yeah,
It
that
just
comes from the bro cut.
and then the Pam put some gas fuel into there, so it is a weird cross in there to mix those terpenes together. On one hit you're like lime, on the next hit you're like grapefruit, on the next hit you're like fuel.
Yeah.
But some of those fruit flavors on that black lime Testarossa, I call them fruit for 1 minute, but they can turn into a fermented fruit, which gives you a little bit of, when it goes fermented like that, it goes into the fuel category out of the fruit category for me. It bounces back and forth when it ferments. So, I mean, that the complexity of that lime is really amazing. And what I enjoy about it, and I'll bring this up on strains that can do this, is you put the joint out halfway and light it an hour later, and it's like you just relit the original joint or just ground it up.
That's how
So I'm
the
enjoying
that's
the
how the
flavors
bro
that come
cut
from
is.
that.
The bro cut will just, it's like I smoked a couple strains like this, but I don't know if it's like as much as the bro cut, but it basically just like coats your entire palate. Like, you know, after you take a hit, like you'll be kind of be smacking your lips, like still trying to taste it. So that all comes from the bro cut, like that straight just palate coating, like craziness.
I don't think I've had that, man, on that one.
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm curious, and I was just talking with Gene about it the other day. Like, I'm curious on the F2 that I picked out of there, because it was that one I did 1200, and it was the gnarliest, and I just picked it based on what was moving me, you know. But then this last run I did, I had Lime 1 BXs, about 15 to 18 of those. I had Limevine F2 open pollination. I had about 70 of those that I opened up. And I had a bunch of these King Lime Louis OGs that were made off of those same lines, the Lime one, basically the Lime ones. And so I got a good like swath of the whole program, you know, and I could see the influence into the Limevine. I could see the influence into the BLR, and it was pretty cool. You saw the purple, or it's more, not even a purple, it's more of a rose like pink color, you know, comes out. I don't know what the percentage is.
I've been debating this.
Low, it's like 10%.
It's fuchsia, like fuchsia color. It's not pink. Out, it's not purple, but it's a weird color that
like magenta, like
right. Yeah.
Crimson.
All right, so let me ask you. So you passed off some beans, and I did my thing, and I went my way. Where did you go with that work?
Like, not far, to be honest, because I'm like always, again, I did pop those BLR Testarossas to see what was in there. I did have some people, because like I have such a small operation, like I try to outsource, like crowdsource as much as I can, and I've had some people. I think I did do the Limevine 9 times Testarossa, and it had like, I remember, and then someone else confirmed it too. Like it almost had this, like, you know, like the Mamba candies. It smelled like lemon Mamba candies. Like it was fucking really good. So yeah, there's some shit in there. But with that group in particular, like what I gave you, I think I really only popped like the Limevine 8 times Testarossa myself, the BLR Testarossa myself, and then the KC, that backcross, that HC36 KC36 backcross times Testarossa. So I did those personally all myself. Like didn't F2 anything. With the Limevine 8s, I wish I had, but you know, it is what it is. Hopefully someone, I mean, like you kind of kept it alive, and other people might have too. Like maybe one day they'll reach out and they'll, hey, I made F2s of this or some shit, or maybe they didn't pop the F1s and still have them. I am actually talking with somebody to try to get a pack I gave them of the LV8s times Testarossa back, because like again,
I'm
like
pretty sure Nick has the F2s of the Limevines.
Yeah.
And the BLRs. I think he has both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have both of them sitting right in front of me.
Yeah, so there you go.
I'm telling you, like that lime, those, and I ended up the lime vine 8 times Testarossa. Like I ended up calling that wild lime, just because it just had this like wild lime-ish smell to it. But I really liked it, and I was like, I was bummed I didn't have access to those seeds anymore. Just again, some weirdness happened. But I even wanted to kind of even give like some further background like on myself and sort of like the cannabis voyage, right? So I mean I'm 36 and been smoking for pretty much almost 22 years now. But in terms of like really being a connoisseur, I mean I would say probably since I was kind of 17, 18, I was going on like, remember Overgrow?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I was on like Overgrow and all that type of stuff. So I just like wanted to learn. And then like in 2004, I I got my medical card, right? So I was like 19 with my medical card, and I would just drive around to everywhere, Oakland, Hayward, like the East Bay in the Bay Area, like the East Bay cities, and then SF, all that places. And I would just go in and I just buy a bunch of weed and I would try it. And that's how you had to do it. Like back in the day, there was no social. I mean, we're talking fucking '04. There's no social media. There's not even smartphones like in '04. So like, there's no, like there's Overgrow. There's like message boards like Overgrow and shit like that. But you really had to get out there. Because I mean, what Prop 215 meant was like maybe I could even say the opposite. What Prop 64 did was kind of choke off the creativity in the weed game, right? In California, there's still a bunch of creativity in the black market side, but the Prop 64 side, like all you see is like wedding cake and GMO. Like all the menus are like pretty much the fucking same wherever you go in the store in California. Like, and I'm not saying it's a general statement, but um, there was a constriction on creativity. So like when we're talking 215 days, like anybody, like any home grower, like you could have a little closet grow and you could sell your weed to the dispensaries, right? So like all that unique genetics and shit, like I mean, like the menus back then were just crazy, just like shit. I mean, you're never gonna see that type of stuff ever again. All like the cool like Northern Lights times blueberry and all like the Shiva skunks and like just random shit you'll never see again. So that's kind of how I began like my connoisseurship, was like actually getting out there and experiencing all this shit. So I could speak to it like on like the highest level, basically. Like not only have I smelt it, I smoked it, etc. And kind of like the moral of the story is like that knowledge, right? Like 20 years almost of trying to be a connoisseur, like that's what goes into like my breeding and stuff I'm doing now, is like all that knowledge. It's not like, oh, I took a wedding cake and crossed it with like do-si-do, and hey, that might be a good strain, but it's just like that's kind of like basic, right? So I mean, and it doesn't mean like I won't work with like gelato or cookies or something like that, but I'm also kind of going for that uniqueness, leveraging all those years of experience of seeing different stuff and experiencing different terpenes, and like really creating that map in my head over time, where it's like kind of like it feels like useless knowledge at the time, but it's like really paying off now, like having that breadth of knowledge, and like applying it to furthering like the seed game, because anybody can make seeds, and like Nick was saying earlier, like we're all pollen chuckers to a degree, but there's definitely like some deep rooted like knowledge into like what I'm trying to do too. Like yeah, I want fun and I want the hype stuff and stuff like that, but like this other stuff I'm doing, like there's going to be gems, and like like working with like Mean Gene stuff, it's like I identified him like early on, like, oh okay, this guy's like, he's like me but on steroids almost, like he's had the access to like all this shit for so long, and the opportunities in the real estate, if you will, to like build all these projects. But it's like when you talk to him, he's such like, I mean, he has a PhD times 10 like in weed, and that's like what I've tried to kind of be myself. So obviously naturally like I gravitated to people like him to work with his genetics and understanding, especially outdoor growing, like why you want to grow certain stuff and why you don't want to grow other stuff. Like you like really can't even grow Skittles full sun. Like it's super hard. Like it wants to mold and get mildew and like all that shit. So like working with Mean Gene stuff that I know it's going to be stable outdoors, in particular, kind of even a little bit more coastal places, or like Emerald Mountain Legacy, working with anything. I guess I'm saying I love working with anything with Royal Kush in it, because somewhere in the genetics, because I know like being a little coastal, and even just for indoor growing, like it's just going to be a hardy plant, and it's going to like not get all that mold, mildew, and like weird bugs and shit.
Dude, once again, you're talking about a strain. While I'm sitting here going through seed stock of all the Royal 8s, 7s, 9s, I've took it to the 14th generation myself.
Mhm.
The Royal is just something that I constantly want to put in this shit because the powdery mildew resistance, because of the strength, because of the branching and structure. The leaf is the only thing I try to pull out. Trying to find.
It'll say real, generally say real short and squat too, especially like the crosses. So like if you're maybe like I did all those backyard grows, like I didn't want tall plants, so the shorter squatter stuff, like it grows like a dome. Like the Rose Especial was like the same, has a little Royal Kush and just grows like a dome. It's nice. Just big old arms and stuff. But yeah, man, just like I said, just really studying cannabis. And then I think it's funny, it's like you go through these there's like levels to the game, right? So it's kind of like you start off by smoking and like doing this and trying all the different stuff, and then you really like hone in on like the unique stuff, and then eventually you're like, fuck man, I want to create my own stuff, and you just start breeding, and so I mean, for me, yeah, it's like a combination of like pollen chucking, but there's direction involved. Like, working with Mean Gene stuff, working with like Emerald Mountain and like Royal Kush stuff. Like I know those are going to be good outdoors, right? So for all the outdoor growers, like all those lime vine crosses, the BLR crosses, like my lime pop Kush times OZ Kush, like you have a good chance of having some good healthy outdoor plants out of those crosses as well. And that was kind of like my focus like early on. I didn't care if it washed. That's what everybody asked. That's like if I had a nickel for every time somebody asked me if a strain washed, I'd be a fucking millionaire by now. But that was never my goal. It was just I'm a bud smoker. I mean, I love concentrate too, but if I had to choose one in that scenario, choose one, I'm choosing buds like for sure. So that's always
Amen.
my number one priority, is making good bud to smoke and look at and things like that. Um, but yeah, and then I mean, eventually I got like a good space, with my buddy, like what 2014, 2015, and then we just kind of started doing our thing, and then it eventually kind of turned into breeding, and then it just how it goes. It's going to snowball from there. It's going to be doing more and more. But like that, like those BLR Testarossa, the lime vine Testarossa, like that was some of the first stuff I did.
How did you went through the Testarossa, and was it a one
No,
man?
somebody actually knows. His handle is King J Gardens. We kind of collabed on that, so he sent me.
He might be around here somewhere. Yeah, or kind no, he might be around on here somewhere.
So he sent me the Testarossa pollen, and then I just hit a bunch of stuff with that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's how
And
me
then-
and
So,
Josh do our breeding stuff.
What was that?
Just send shit back and forth. So makes it difficult where I'm in Michigan and he's in Washington, but we FaceTime every day together and then sending stuff back and forth, and then just trusting off each other's selections. But I wanted to ask you about the OZ Kush and
Yeah.
what your experiences on the OZ Kush were, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it.
I mean, there's nothing not to like. I mean, I guess, right? I mean, like if you're just trying to put that gas candy on things, that's a good starting point. So I think back in I think I've bought, and so that was actually another collab. I'll get to that, but yeah, I mean, I originally bought OZ Kush in like 2016 or 2017. Ran it one summer. I was like, fuck, man, I'd love to do some work with that. So then I bought another pack, sent it to somebody. He did the males and kind of F2s on his end, and then he sent me the pollen, and then I put that on a bunch of stuff. But the OZ Kush, I mean, some phenos are going to be more of that OG, but others you're going to get that like real 50-50 gas candy. Um, and that's what people like. That's what people want. I mean, I like that stuff myself. So that's like I want to smoke on personally, because that's the thing too, is like I don't want to breed. I want to breed stuff I want to smoke as well. Like that's always really important to me. Um, so yeah, I mean that's how kind of that OZ project started. Um, and then that same year, I had a Skittles clone. So then I made, the Skittles back cross ones from the OZ pollen and the Skittles clone. And then that kind of started like a new round of breeding with the Skittles back cross one instead of the OZ. But yeah, the OZ, I mean, it's a nasty strain from Dying Breed. I mean, it's gas candy. I know a lot of like talking with someone recently who got like a Skittles back cross one for Sea Junkie, but they didn't really like it. I was like, dude, you got to do mine. Like it's all gas candy. Because I'll have my Skittles back cross one F2s are coming up here pretty soon. But yeah, man, I mean, like, like, the goal is like, okay, so like, I put the OZ on like the Sky Color Kush, the Lime Pop Kush, and just like a ton of other shit. And like the goal is, it's like I want to take those, like the Lime Pop Kush, I want to take those terps, I want to take the qualities of how it grows outdoors, it gets real frosty and things of that nature, and just like inject gas candy into it. Maybe even kind of even chunky up the buds, because like the OZ actually kind of throws some chunks. And Lime Pop Kush doesn't get very fat and chunky. So that's kind of the goal there, like fatten it up a little bit, and then just take the original, like just take the mom terps, and then just try to put gas candy into it. Um, I
Did
mean
you
that's
say you put the OZ Kush on Sky Cuddler?
yeah, yeah.
Man, I bet that is a phenomenal
I
product.
haven't, bro. I haven't even grown it yet. I don't.
You need to go fill up a cup of water right now, because I'm about to send you my address when we get off this phone. There
Well,
has to be two different dominant forces of gas, or different
here's
characteristics of fuel mixing
here's
together.
here's the funny part about that little thing was like I think because we'd always do weird shit. We'd always like say we had a pack of 10 seeds, we might only plant 6, right? Because we just
Yeah.
wanted, I mean, bro, we used to run like fucking 20, 30, 40 different varieties, you know what I mean? And then within those different varieties, there'd be different phenos, right? So we were just going crazy with just like having fun doing shit like that. But the funny thing is about the Sky Cuddler is I think we popped like 6 or 7 seeds, and unfortunately only got one female. Um, but the female was really good. Like, and those pics are still on my Instagram, but it threw just fucking chunky colas, and it has this like earthy Kush, fruity smell to it. And I just think it'll pair really well with the OZ. Just again, trying to put that trying to take that Sky Color Kush and just trying to put that gas candy twist on it. And I think it'll be a good yielder. You might think OG Skittles, oh, it's not going to yield, but I think that cross is going to throw chunks. And the Sky Color did good outdoors, like no mold, no mildew, um, even with big old fucking chunky buds too. I kind of got
I've
lucky because
recently
it
smoked.
did it did it did flower. Like it had a weird year where like normally where I'm at, like my coordinates, like it's like it's more like early August they'll start flowering, but actually that one started mid-July, so it didn't have to deal with any harsh weather like end of September, early October. Because around here that's where you're mostly finishing is like sometime in October for the most part. So that finished up a little early. But yeah, I mean, I really want to. I mean, I don't have a ton of seeds of that, but I have some that I can definitely throw you for sure. Like I'll put it this way, like both you guys can have it. It's one of those things though. But if you're not gonna, I don't have enough. Like where if I give you seeds, you don't grow them. It's like I would rather give them to somebody else who would grow them. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, shameless plug. I got a grip of Sky Cutler seeds. A grip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a grip.
I
Like-
went through Scott Cutler a lot.
Like
Like,
four
what did you-
or 5,000.
Did you have for them?
No. These are Gene made these.
Oh, okay. You just got a.
I just got them in a weird deal, and they left my hands. I bought them through a consulting deal, and they didn't pay me, and they gave me the seeds back. I was like, "Well, I'll take the seeds back, you motherfuckers," for some sort of payment. So I look at me talking live about it. Anyways, if anybody's looking for some Sky Cuddlers, I got a grip of them, and they're good. I've opened them up, and they germinate.
Oh yeah, I've grown so much of Mean Gene stuff. I've never I've like other breeders, like if you get like 80%, you're like probably kind of happy about that. Like even well-known breeders who sell their packs to $300 to $500, like they're not all popping, and they'll give you 10, like some bullshit, right? But yeah, Mean Gene will give you like 12 to 15, and they're all gonna pop, for sure. So yeah, just never doubt that. But that's what I try to take a little pride on too, is germination rates. So I mean, the feedback I've gotten so far, like on a lot of my stuff, is like the germination's been fucking awesome. So yeah. But yeah, taking it back a little bit. I mean, I guess kind of segueing into like what we have 3 packs on the site now. We have the Lime Pop Kush times OZ Kush. We have the Popongo Berry, and we have the Rainbow Island. So the Lime Pop Kush, obviously from Mean Gene, it's what is it? The lime, well, it's OG times Lime Pop, and the Lime Pop is what Black Lime times Pure Kush, or the other way around, Pure Kush times Black Lime. But yeah, I think I had 5 females that year, and I pollinated all of them, and they're all really similar. They kind of have that like classic like piney citrus, kind of like that cleaner urinal cake smell, like a little bit. They don't get super fat, but it gets super frosty. So again, just trying to take that mother profile and put the gas candy on it, and for the outdoor growers, like hopefully creating something that's gonna be sustainable, and especially in this area, like in October, dealing with like the marine layer and just those really dewy mornings for sure. But yeah, I haven't popped those myself. I don't think there's been like maybe 1 or 2 people that's growing them. I haven't got really great like not great, not in like bad news, but as in like they just haven't been like a very forthcoming with like information and things of that nature. But that's what I'm basically hoping to do, is like in the next, probably my next run, is start popping like a lot of this stuff to see what's in it. Like the Lime Pop, the Sky Color times OZ, and just like a ton of other stuff. And even just using these 2-gallon pots, because I can fit like 20 to 22 in a 5x5 tent. So I can go through, like I can, throw a couple different varieties in there, just toss the males, not worry about the males right now, and just seeing what's in the females. But yeah, that's what I'm hoping to do kind of towards the end of 2021, is start seeing what's in stuff. I mean, because I got a bunch of crazy shit. Like, I mean, like Empire Gardens and his cherry lime, which he did his own version of like cherry lime, is cherry pie times black lime. And then I crossed that to there's like a pheno I really like that was very cherry dom, and I crossed that to the OZ Kush. So I'd like to go through that too, because I had a buddy pop some a couple phenos outdoor last year, and one of them would just smell like cherry root beer or something like that, super frosty, colors coming in like super pretty bud, all that stuff. So and obviously that one I'd like to F2, because I don't have very many F1 seeds, and I'd like to get that out to people. Because I think there's a lot of good shit in that one, because it's going to have the bag appeal, it's going to have the the frost, the color, and I think it's going to have some unique terpenes on it too. Um, and then, so yeah, the Lime Pop Kush times OZ Kush. I mean, I guess I will say, maybe I don't want to call it the elephant in the room, but a lot of people will be like, oh, like selling seeds that you've never grown, and I understand their perspective like a little bit, but I like to look at it as like you're getting a connoisseur, me, just creating shit for you to play with, basically, is what I'm doing, right? Like, hey, I got a good taste. I know what the fuck I'm looking at. I know what I'm doing. Like, there's gonna be some fucking gems in here. Like, just try it out. I mean, at $60 or something, it's like you can't go wrong. Like, you're not gonna get a bunch of like fucking stupid ass plants. Like, maybe you'll find something like you're gonna find something you like, like it's or at least something that's good.
No, dude, for the price, it's like you've gone through and done some it's crazy work,
Right.
selection. It's like here's a cross, it's untested, but here you fucking go, $60. Like,
Right.
eat it the fuck up, do some work yourself.
Right. I mean, and if it's not like I'm trying to like offset these costs per se, but it's like, hey, I bought the OZ, that was $300. I bought, the Lime Pop, that was like $100 or $200. I mean, there's $400 or $500 I just had to spend to go into this project before I even put any growing costs like into it. And then again, that's not really like the point, but it's like I'm working with good shit. It's not like, because like back in the day, people would be like, well, I kind of got some like whatever, like they would just like, hey, I kind of threw some shit together, like maybe you'll find something you like. It's like you're gonna find something you like the ingredients going in. It's like it would almost be impossible not to fucking find something you like, you know what I'm saying? So I know a lot of people, and at one point in time I was there myself. It's like you don't have a lot of money to spend on seeds. Like those $300 to $500 aficionado and dying breed packs. It's like, dude, that's not fucking realistic. And you're getting 10 seeds, and if you're lucky, 8 of them pop. So I'm just kind of, I don't like that paradigm, like myself, like having gone through it as just like a seed buyer and just a fucking regular dude growing and trying to make my ways, you know what I mean? And just being a connoisseur. Like, because in the backyard we could have just grew gelato or something and sold it right fucking to some custies, but like I've lost money by being a connoisseur. You see what I'm saying? Like I could just fucking be growing weed right now and selling it, except like I'm growing seeds with no idea what's going to happen. There might not be one person who buys anything, but you know what, I'm still gonna fucking breed. Like it does, you know what I mean? Like it's I love doing it. Like I'm putting shit together, and the people who want to take a chance, and I hardly even want to call it taking a chance, because it's like, again, you're not going to get some fucking weed that's like, dude, what is this? You know what I mean? Like you're going to get something you like. Um, so yeah, I mean, like I don't know where I was going with that, but I told you I just ran. Fucking, there's going.
No, dude, I mean, I think pricing is really, really interesting, and it's so hard. It's a hard conversation. Everyone does it differently, dude. But like, I look at it like, what do I have into a project? That's personally how I look at it. And like there's folks that could totally like hate on me for selling out those. I sold some of those F2s. I gave most of them away, but I sold some of the cuts to raise money for my tractor. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and like, props to you for being totally cool on the whole thing. And I mean, I've tried to push back as much as I can, and like redirect, that you made the first cross you know what I mean, and show respect. And
those are those keyboard people like that wouldn't say it to your face in real life, though. You can't. It's like,
right.
it's like if you responded to all the dumb shit online, you wouldn't have time in the day for anything good. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there might be a fine line. Like when it comes to like when it comes to like F2s, there might be a fine line, but it just depends on the breeder. Like for me, like I don't give a shit, because people have to realize, like, and Kevin talks about this with cookies. It's like, if only 5 people smoked cookies, like what the fuck does that mean? It could be the best strain in the world, but it doesn't mean anything, right? And so like I have so many different crosses and shit like that. Like I need people like to like help promote like what I'm doing. And so it doesn't matter that like if someone takes my shit and makes F2s or F3s and sells them, like because like the original breeder holds like that unique like what's the word? It's just like it's like that spirit, like that aura. You see what I'm saying? It's like okay, well, this motherfucker is the original person who made it. Like he must know what he's doing to some regard. So like you know, and I'm so like on to the next one, quote unquote, right? Like it doesn't that stuff like doesn't matter to me. And if I didn't want people to grow it and do whatever they wanted with it, then like it's like why sell it then, or like you know why give it out, why give it away? But again, it's like you know what's that saying? It's just like you know the tide lifts all the boats or whatever like that. I mean, it's like the more people working with your shit, the better it is for you, you know, like so like I appreciate like the fact you have to understand too. It's like when you're doing breeding and things like that, like you have no, and you're like maybe even trying to sell seeds, you know, you have no idea if it's ever going to work out. The fact that even one person decided it was good enough to take to F2, blah blah blah, like it's a very humbling thing, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm just like, oh man, like another person who's a connoisseur like liked what I did. So like that's the most like humbling thing. It's like game recognized game, you know, and again, like I don't like hoarding onto stuff. Like I don't like if like clones and I mean it's not like that so much nowadays, but you know back in the day, you know how it was. Like you couldn't like people would hoard shit all day long. I don't really believe in that. Um, it should get out there for people to check out. Um, you know, I guess maybe for money reasons, people want to hoard stuff and sell clones for like crazy money and shit like that. I mean, I remember back in the day playing like $50 a clone for cookies. I mean, that was crazy. Um, but yeah, man, it's just fuck, you know what I mean? It's like
It's been all over the place, man. Like you know, back in I'm trying to remember the year 2000, like 8, 7. My buddy paid $1,000 for the ATF clone. We made a
crazy.
fuck ton of money off of it.
Yeah.
And 2 years later, I got all the tons of shit off Craigslist, you know, just for because I'm up in the Northwest, so we're a little bit behind you guys for sure down there. Um, you know, you get everything off Craigslist and at dispensaries a year later for $10, $15. Like,
Yeah,
you know, I got the real fucking Gorilla Glue, the real fucking a bunch of stuff for $10, $15 at dispensaries. You know, when I was selling them stuff and they had racks of clones back there, I'm like, what's that? You got a Gorilla Glue? Oh, okay. I'd grab it and clean it up and try it and be like, oh, damn, that's the one, dude. You know?
yeah. Clone game used to be crazy. That's another thing. The clone, like I said about diversity and genetic like creativity, like the clone game nowadays is trash in California. Like, you know, back in the day, you'd have every dude just selling clones at the clubs. Like you can, I mean, we're talking like shit right now that people would pay $1,000 for, like the original Urkel. Like you could buy that clone with no problem back in the day. I mean, just crazy type shit. But yeah, going back to the stuff on the site, again, we have the Lime Pop Kush times OZ Kush. And then getting into the Popongo berry, like this one's really special. Like, so I was telling you, it originally, so the mom originally comes from a company called Higher Ground Canna. I think their handle on IG is Higher Ground Canna. Um, they call it HG36 backcross 3. So it's KC36 times pure type backcross 3. But it's super unique. Like it just has the most unique terp fruit profile. Just I mean, it's like kind of like people describe it as like blueberry pink starburst, like rotten fruit funk. I don't know. Are you familiar with Frosty? You know who Frosty is? No, he's real popular in California, but he actually he's a recreational dude. And he's actually running that cut. He's the only I don't even have that cut anymore. He's the only one that still has it. But the goal there was just try to match those fucking crazy KC because it's a very KC dominant. It's a backcross three, very KC dominant. Just match those terps with the OZ. So just again, just try to put some gas candy on it. Maybe even try to upgrade the structure a little bit, because that HG36 isn't, it's not like the fastest growing plant or the biggest growing plant. So or the necessarily the frostiest growing plant, but ideally, you know, the OZ will help with frost, put the gas candy in there, and also chunk up the buds, maybe put some legs on it too, have it kind of shoot up a little bit, because it didn't stretch very much. But that one is like real special to me. That HC36 backcross 3, like that's the type of shit where I'm like, you gotta mess with this one, like you gotta see what's in there. I think I had 5 females and 2 males to take it to F2. When I pollinated it, like for whatever reason, and I'm sure you guys experience this too, sometimes pollen fucking works, sometimes it doesn't work very well. Like I don't know the rhyme or reason to it. Like some one strain will just get crazy pollinated, and the next strain might not get very pollinated for whatever reason. It's kind of how the Sky Color Kush was. The Lime Pop Kush times OZ, I mean, that thing just fucking pollinated like nobody's business, and the Sky Color just didn't really take it that well, and I didn't get a ton of seeds off that. And it was kind of the same thing with that KC back cross. So I only really had like, I think at this point I had like 8 seeds to play with, to make the F2s. One of the males, so I had 5 females and 3 males. One of the males was kind of runty, so I just tossed it. And the 2 left were in there. It's on my IG, so you can check them out. Just beautiful fucking males. So I know it's gonna have good structure, like some solid genetics in there. Um, and then the females kind of just had that gas candy twist on the KC profile. I think one of them was a little bit more OZ dominant, but the other ones kind of had that funky, fruity, with kind of that extra gassy back end to it. So again, that's the Popongo berry. So it will color up a little bit. I think one pheno had some nice, like a lot of purple coloration. One of them had just like a little bit. That, you know, that's still kind of how it is in California. Like people want that perp on the bud, basically. Like some people won't even grow it if it doesn't even turn like a little purple. Like they don't even want it. So for those type of people, you know, no hate against you. You will find some nice purple bud phenos in that Popongo berry. Um, but again, I mean, that's going to be for like the fruit lovers. If they're looking for some real funky fruit with some gas in there, because that's how it is in California too. Like it's about gas candy. I mean, you can probably blame like the gelatos for that, like craze or whatever. But I mean, in the Skittles too, there's not really gas in the Skittles, like the true Skittles, but just that crazy candy type shit, especially for dabbing. You know, it's popular in California, just gas candy in general, though. And that's how all this shit is nowadays. It's all, you know, it's all gas candy. Like it's not just gas, not just candy, it's all gas candy, you know? So yeah, I got to get you some of those too. I mean, if you guys want to, you know, play around with that. Like I said, I think there's some good shit in there. Um, and then Rainbow, and then the third one on the website, Rainbow Island. So it uses the Popongo berry males. Again, those 2 big stout males were used, and then the mom, 2 different phenos of my Skittles backcross 1 are in that. So it is like a little bit of a mix. So the seeds are mixed in with, so I call it my Skittles backcross 1 number 1, and my number 4 phenos are the 2 moms in that cross. The number 1 pheno leans more gassy, but it is still very much gas candy. Big buds, like, you know, for that type of OG Skittles, like you would just expect like little shitty ass buds probably, but it actually has some girth in there. Has some legs, so it has good structure, stretches, does, you know, grows like OG style basically. And it's like, to me, like that number 1 pheno is like the epitome of gas candy. I mean, like when you really say that word, like this is like the manifestation of that shit. The number 4 pheno is more Skittles. So like if I had to say, like the number 1's like 75-25 dominant gas. The number 4 is like 75-25 dominant candy. So yeah, whatever. I like to put them both in there because I think they're both fucking bomb ass phenos. Some people want more candy, some people want a little bit more gas, and you can kind of pick pick your way which direction, you know, you want to keep once you pop them and find the pheno you like. The more gassy ones are going to have more stretch, you know, and the more Skittles stuff is going to stay a little bit more, like the more Skittles Dom stuff will stay a little bit more squat. But yeah, for the people looking for like some gas candy, um, that's with like more Skittles, because obviously it's kind of similar to the Popongo berry, but this is going to be more Skittles than the Popongo berry. So if you want more of that Skittles profile, I know folks probably outside of California probably haven't experienced as much as, you know, the folks inside California. So if you're looking for something, you know, you can probably find something real Skittles in there. That's probably the
How do you
pack.
just to sidetrack onto that? How do you describe Skittles? Because that's a lot of people have no fucking clue. You know.
Well, I mean, it's there's really not there's no secrets, right? I mean, it is what it says. It says what it is. I mean, it's Skittles. It's fucking, I mean, some of the most insanely tasty like shit, you know. It has that like fruity, it's more lemon dominant. I find more lemon and grape aspects in it. Like it's not like you don't get like the full Skittles pack necessarily, like you don't get the oranges and the all that, you know what I mean, but you kind of, it's more limey grapey, I would describe it, with a little bit probably or sorry, lemon grapey, with probably lemon being the most predominant flavor in there. But yeah, I mean, it has that fruity pebbles Skittles fucking, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, how fucking terpy and how like how direct it is, like with, you know, with that profile in terms of like it truly smells like a bag of Skittles or some shit. But it sucks. The downside to Skittles is playing with it because it's a shitty plant. You know what I mean? It's like it's like again, you know, I've never grown it indoors. I've only ever grown it twice outdoors. And again, it doesn't like full sun, especially when you're getting a little bit more coastal like me. Once you get into September, October, it's going to be too dewy. It's going to get mold. It's going to get mildew and all that shit. But you know, and then again, yeah, for breeding, you got to watch out for the intersex traits, you know. So I think just recently on the F2 project, the Skittles back cross one F2s, I tossed a one female because it started throwing some male shit, you know. So I tossed that, but the other ones look fine, no weirdness, chunky, fucking frosty as shit. And again, it has that wet look, you know, because it's so terpy and juicy. It just has the, you know, like you know, you have you grown Mac?
Yeah,
Yeah, you know how like
Nick
Mac
has
doesn't,
more Mac experience with Mac than I do, but
Mac
I know Mac.
Mac's frosty, like the difference between like, so that I always describe it as like cakey, frosty, like wet. Like the Mac is just like caked up like frost. But like the Skittles back cross ones are just like wet. This shit's just, it just looks wet, you know what I mean? So,
Totally.
and I actually have a Mac going right now, which I'll get into in a sec. But yeah, so just to recap those three packs: so Lime Pop Kush OZ, $60. The Rainbow Island is $60, and the Popongo Berry F2s are $75. So I mean, look, yeah, I mean, you can't beat that for like the quality of what you're gonna get out of those seeds. I mean, you're gonna find something you like. Like it's just, it would be impossible not to. And hopefully, maybe if you're looking for a different direction, and I understand how prevalent Skittles and OGs, so like the OZ Kush or the Skittles back prawns, okay, like that profile isn't unique anymore, but I think it's taking like a Lime Pop Kush or a Sky Colored Kush and ideally taking it to the next level. You know, terp wise, flavor wise is kind of what you're going for. But yeah, I mean, just that's like kind of like taking what people are familiar with and just putting like a unique twist on it is kind of like what I was trying to do with the OZ and all those different crosses. Yeah. And then any sorry if I keep going, you guys, any comments, anything to say?
No. I mean, that's what you do, or that's what I do. You know, I find things that I like, and I'm like, cool. Like at first, I'm just like, I what else could I do better to this? This is amazing. And then you make a
Yeah.
cross, and you're like, oh, okay, well, this goes this way, this goes that way, and then you're just into this fucking world of playing with the thing, you know.
Yeah,
And
it's just like that comment. It's like that thing. It's like, well, this breeder's doing this breeder's doing that. It's like just trying to bring those together, like bridging gaps basically. Like this breeder's not going to work with this guy's stuff and he's not going to work with that guy's stuff, but you can work with both their stuffs and put them together. And so, that's what that's basically like what I'm trying to do. And on top of it, again, bringing, like a Mean Gene, bringing his stuff, putting a twist on his stuff, and it's what people want, I think, too. Like, I think if you're kind of like a connoisseur like you and I and Nick and stuff, you see like, oh shit, he crossed Sky Color with OZ, like fuck, I would do that myself, you know what I'm saying? So like that's the type of shit, like I want to create shit that people are like, man, like I would want to do that, or that's what I would do too. So that, yeah. Do you want to get into like what I got going on now?
yeah,
All right, so the current project actually today is the end of week 7. So I think tomorrow will be the start of week 8. So I got about probably about like 3 more weeks or so on the plant, and then drying and shucking. So probably like 6 weeks or so altogether, till it's like done. But I got 2 tents right now. One tent is this, I call it the Skittles Backcross 1 tent. So I have 6 females and 4 males, so making F2s, or had 4 males. I call them now, obviously. And then, but also in that tent, I'm doing a bunch of outcrossing. So I have a GMO, I have a Mac 1, I have a Chili Verde, I have a Gary Payton, I have a cereal milk, and I have a sour diesel times I-95, and a sherbert. So fucking like there's gonna be some heat, off these crosses. The sour D times I-95 comes from a Skunk Tech. I think a lot of people are probably familiar with him. So that's not like really like something, a clone that like really circulates. So that should be pretty cool. It has a really funky, nasty smell to it right now. And I think most people are probably familiar with all these other strands I listed, like GMO and Mac 1 and sherbs and all that stuff. Like I know the sherbs and Skittles cross has done well for some people, or like a version of it has done well for a lot of people. So I'm looking forward to that. But I think, as you have experience with the Gary Payton, I had no experience with it coming in before I got the clone. Like I hadn't even seen the buds or smoked the buds or anything like that. So I really had no idea what the profile was. But it smells fucking really good right now. Like it smells like cookies, with like a little extra sweetness mixed in. And oh, something wrong?
oh no, I was just saying that's it behind me.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's the Gary Payton.
yeah,
Oh shit! That shit's getting, was that that's getting real. It must be in your greenhouse or outdoors or something. Yeah, because it's getting real
greenhouse.
purple. Like mine's not really getting purple like that, but it has, because it's the wildlife times snowman. So the wildlife is the cookies and cherry pie, and it smells like the Gary Payton seems to be like wildlife dominant because it's kind of smells like cookies, but it has this like it has this kind of unique like tart sweetness about it, and then also kind of finishes off with like that dank gassy too. So I'm actually kind of surprised. Sometimes those cookie shits, you're like, is this hype or is it real? But it seems to be real nice, and the cereal milk's pretty unique too because it really has that like milky, creamy, earthy dankness to it. So I'm curious to see how that kind of rounds out in the next couple weeks. But I'm liking that one too. And again, I think everyone else is probably familiar with like the GMO, but it's like the first time I've grown GMO, and it has that nasty, fucking gross smell to it. So I think that'll be cool with the Skittles. I think I want to call that one onion rings. That's what I've been thinking about. But yeah, I mean, do you guys has anybody chimed in with any questions, or I should before I
It's hard for me to ever look at that stuff while I'm doing this. It just
Yeah.
is with my brain injury and everything else. And I had to keep muting my phone because it was time I got 10 German Shepherds that just ate. My wife was feeding them all.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me to look at the chats at the same time while we're talking because I'm so focused on the stuff.
Yeah.
You were talking about third gen earlier. I've got their blackberry pudding going right now indoors. It's just stupid.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's the blackberry kush and banana pudding, right?
I'm not real sure, dude. I had brain
Yeah.
surgery beginning of June, and
Yeah.
my homie Landrace Indian, who works with Brandon at Third Gen, gave me the seeds. I've got it going outdoors and indoors. Just a stupid plant, and shout out to Brandon on this particular cross because I lost my mini split in the beginning of June. And I ran this last test room. It's not during the day. I'm next like megas and all of them. I keep it at 80 degrees. It's when the room seals up at night with the dehues, kicks it up to about 95, 100 degrees. Jeez. And I've lost a lot of plants, you know, and I'm testing right now. So that's good for me to test on this particular room. And that plant has stood solid. So tickled with that one. But, you know, the Skittles, I have not as much experience with the Skittles as everybody else. And homies of mine are directly involved with it. But me personally, I just haven't grown it as much. It's been more Skittles crosses. Dark Horse Genetics, when I was out there with them in Colorado, I mean, they had with the Skittles that I smoked out there was just phenomenal. And my man Landrace Indian up here brought me some watermelon Skittles recently that was just stupid. Right. But Skittles, I'm not as familiar in pure form, me myself, as a lot of other people. I'm not a huge fruit guy myself. I like it mixed in with gas and different natures. I like Skittles because my fruit issues are more in the blackberry blueberry range, which I just got burnt out in Kentucky in the early 2000s on those particular terpenes. But Skittles is something I enjoy, and you did say it right earlier. Like you can pull so many different fruits out of when I have smoked it. It's been lime here, lemon here, grape here. I pull apple, actually, like green apple out of Skittles the few times that I've went into it pure. But just for breeding wise, I've never bred the plant.
Not to cut you off, Nick. Oh, I was just I don't know. Sorry to hop in there. I'm a dick, but I was just remembering that we all got Skittles from the same from Wonderland back in the day. So that right, that's where you got your cut, and that's where your basis is on this is the same basis. So when we're talking about it, and that before we got on live, that was the thing that I was saying is like I'd love to walk through your garden with you because when you're describing something and I'm describing something, we're talking about the same thing, you know, and you might call something lime and I might call it lemon, or whatever, like, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
That's just interpretation of terpenes.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I did all that through bourbon for years. I mean, the same 20 high-end bourbon pickers in the same room one guy may call it cedar coming through, guy may call it mahogany pine, guy may just say it's wood, you know. Right. It's just how it comes through. And then at the same point, I find it also, you know, tremendously amazing that grown in different places, whether it's HPS, LED, different LED companies, CMH, the different stuff outdoors, or even different regions of outdoors, right, as to how the direction and the plant's going to go in the first place. So I even like to revisit plants that just because I smoked something one place that somebody had that I may not have cared for doesn't mean that somebody else that had it, that grew it, that I won't care for it there. It's just all on how it was grown and where it was grown.
You know, that's actually how I came across, like one time there was an indoor grower who he had the oil spill and the rosé especial from Aficionado, and he couldn't do nothing with them indoors. Like he thought they were trash. And I got some cuts and I grew them outdoors and they were fucking amazing. Like, and he almost couldn't believe like it was the same shit, like the same genetics he gave me, you know. Sometimes stuff does better, in different mediums or whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, even with the Skittles, like I've never actually even smoked indoor Skittles before. I've only smoked outdoor, so I'm not even really sure how that looks out indoor. But to your point,
I mean, I think it's pretty well known that it's not a looker, and it's really the flavor, and it does well in extraction. And so folks kind of hop skip right over it and did a bunch of breeding with it, and that's
right,
that's where we are, because it just wasn't working in the garden. And that, that's what we were talking earlier. The one I'm calling Post Malone it has that in it, in the cut that I got it really excited about. I was like, I was really judging it on structure first, because the flavor of Skittles didn't come out later till the end. So I was judging it on structure and trichome development. It was fucking fat as fuck. And then I got in there late in the game, and it was like, oh, this is totally Skittles. And with a little bit of that grease rag or something like that, I call it like oil can grease rag thing in there. But it
right,
was dead on ringer Skittles flavor, but like everything you'd want in structure and trichome development, just big fat, cold, forearm size, like ripping, just like holy shit, the whole thing in my whole garden type deal. Um, Nothing like it, nothing like what the Skittles cut looks like. And I've grown the Skittles cut over and over and over and over again,
it
and
has
it's
a
just,
very distinct look. Like the leaves
yeah,
are very distinct. So yeah, you should kind of know. You kind of know. It's when the bud structure too. Like
bud
like
structure for sure.
like that's how I could tell. Like one of those BLR Testarossas. Like, dude, this shit is like straight Skittles Dom, because you could just it looked like Skittles growing. Like, it was fucking. It was like I said. I have pictures of my IG of that one, and it looks crazy. But yeah, I guess I'll get in to my other tent, which is so this what I call the sour candy F2s. So this is from Higher Ground, and it's sour diesel times KC36, and it's like old school sour D too. It's not like, I don't know, there's like the dude claims it's like an '03 sour diesel cut, which I mean, it kind of maybe sometimes it sounds dorky to say, but you know how it is with sour D. It's like nowadays, like you don't even really know what it is anymore, like it's hard to like pinpoint what's actually sour D anymore. But yeah, so it's like an old school sour D cut times KC36. I had four females and 8 males. So we're making F3s on that. Which I am not going to release the F3s, but I'll release the outcrosses. So I have Sherbs, I have Gelato 33, I have the Sour D times I-95. I have my Skittles Backcross One #1 pheno, which is like the hard gas candy pheno. And then I have the cereal milk. So like the sour candy, like one of the females right now is like straight KC dominant, where it literally smells like tropical blueberries. And kind of like piggybacking off what Nick said earlier, that he's sick of blueberries, I can assure him he has not had like this kind of blueberry before. Like it dead on, like DJ Short blueberry. I've grown DJ Short blueberry like back in the day, like probably like 0405 grew, or like 0506 grew DJ Short blueberry. That's a more like earthy blueberry. Like this is like literally tropical candy blueberry. Like it's fucking wild. Um, and the other, like one of the other phenos I like a lot is like it smells like a guava bubble gum. So it's just like these super unique tropical fruity flavors. Um, and like I said on a post recently, like the point of this is to throw those like crazy tropical fruit vibes on these kind of strains that people know, like so like the Sherp 33. So it's taken something like that and really trying to take it to a different or new level, basically. Like out here in California, like I think it's from Deo Farms, right? Like everybody talks about the RS11, which is a Rainbow Sherbet 11. And it's like a OZ Kush guava times rainbow times sherbet backcross one, I think is the genetics on it. But kind of looking kind of like for that profile, basically like a tropical or maybe even better or different, but just like this tropical sherbs, basically. Like, because sherbs is one of my favorites. Like it's like I know there's like maybe a couple different cuts that float around, but the real sherbs is like perfumey, gassy, dooky, and like ice cream. Like that's what the real sherbs smells like. So just trying to
I
take
agree. I love Sherb. I
right, yeah.
love Sherb.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
It's again, it's like one of those strains where, yeah, it's like hypey. It's been around a long time, blah, 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 blah. But hey, at the end of the day, it gets popular because it's fucking good. Um, and
it's not named appropriately. Sherbert, that should be. I expect to get into
it isn't. It comes up. Go ahead, but yeah, it's not named appropriately. I agree with you.
No, I've never even smoked it when my homies were having it or I was offered the cut. I mentally bypassed it because I thought it was just going to be straight orange. That in my mind, I went orange sherbet. And I don't know why they make other flavors of sherbet, but
right.
my mind, that's where my mind went. And so I bypassed it. And then I'm out at the Indo Expo a couple years ago with my homie BK Roller and Dark Horse crew. And one of them handed me a joint of it. I hit it. I was like, what is this? He said, sherbet. I was like, I hit it a couple more times. I'm like, man, this is gas. Like this is a gas with a mixture of like dough and different things brought in. Like
I don't. Well, I will agree and disagree. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I described it as like perfumey, gassy, dooky, danky, but there also is that fruity ice cream in there. So that's from my I've
yeah,
run it.
it's in there, but it mixed.
Yeah.
It's not just straight
No,
sherbet. There was
no.
complexity there.
Right.
Like I don't like straight blueberry, but you put it with some fuel, you put it with some lime, you put it with some pineapple, and I'll smoke it.
Yeah.
And you said I bet Nick's never. I could assure you I probably have. I went through so much stuff in 25 years of this stuff. It's just blueberry got the different versions of blueberry, raspberry, blackberry were real common in Kentucky that we ended up with those phenos, and I burnt myself out on them. It's not that they weren't fire; it's that I was stuck just smoking 100 pounds of this shit, gorilla style, or other stuff of that for a little bit. You just burn yourself. You just burn yourself out.
Well,
Matt,
let me tell you this on this blueberry. I've never smelled blueberry like this before. Like that's what got me hooked on that original KC36 back cross. It was like people should be like, God damn, this thing smells like ripe, like fresh blueberries. Like it's not earthy, like it's not kind of like it's like this wild twist on blueberry. And so yeah, I think hopefully those males will throw those tropical terps like on the sherbet, on the gelato. So they're taking these cuts that people like a lot, and like I said, trying to elevate it to like a new level. Because I mean that's what some stuff is like. Like again, like the rainbow sherbet. Well, it's like we've all had sherbet, but this is kind of like a new, different, elevated version. So that's what I'm going for with the sour candy tent, is like putting some wild tropical fruit twist on these clones basically. So the fruit lovers, I mean that's going to be your tent right there. I mean, obviously the Skittles is fruit too, but this is different. Like I don't know if I could say more unique, but it's just, again, it's more tropical fruit. There's no gas in it. There's not, in these two phenos, like there's not any danky gas. Like it's just hard fruit basically.
Skittles is a hard one to nail down. Like I honestly can't even begin to describe it to me, and I'm usually pretty good at like nailing down flavors, or at least nailing down some things that I taste in a thing, at least one or two. But the Skittles cultivar, it's I don't know, I'm almost an emotional reaction to describing it, like that it's bright, and that it's almost effervescent in a way.
It's like it's almost hard to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this I'm saying, this sour candy shit though, it's like it's like it's hard to compare. It's hard. It's like almost comparing apples and oranges, right? Like it's hard. Like it's a different. Like there's just it's like in a different universe. Like I'm not saying good or bad. They're just like in different universes. Like where it's like they're both fucking just the most unique fruit type of shit. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people like know much about KC and that type of shit, but it comes from the old KC Brains, like Holland Seed Company from back in the day. So that's where like it originally stems from. But the work Higher Ground did with it is just fucking amazing. So again, I have in the sour candy tent, I have the Gelato 33, the Sherbs, my Skittles Back Cross One, #1 Pheno, the Sour D times I-95. And just the goal again is just throwing that tropical fruit twist on it. And I truly think there's going to be some crazy unique flavors out of this one for sure.
I will send you all my tropical fruit stuff. You send me all your fuel and lime shit. And but that's what's great about cannabis. Everybody is going for different individual things.
Yeah,
that
we all have different taste. It's like
Yeah.
here's the thing. Like I don't like Bubba Kush. I don't even really care for like Do-si-do that much. Um, like Mac One, I don't care for that flavor profile too much. So like there's a lot of shit that people love, and it's not. I'm not gonna say I don't. It's not good. I'm not gonna say it's overrated. It's just not my thing. And there's so many different things to like, it's like no one's right, no one's wrong, we just like different stuff, like you
I just
like
like reefers. Like other than, I mean, really, coming from Kentucky in my background, I'm not California. I'm not Washington State. I'm not Oregon. I'm not West Coast. But I started growing when I was 16 years old, 1996, and went to prison for it in 2003. We did not have access to all the flavors that were in California and all that stuff. And even when we might get those packs, from California, who's the fuck to say it was sour diesel or something else shoved in that pack and just called that back in the day. So for me personally, it was, and I actually had this conversation with 4 guys sitting on my front porch today. If all weed left tomorrow, I'd smoke Mexican brick tomorrow. Like I love weed. Like if connoisseur weed, if fluffy weed, if weed ain't here, I'm smoking tomorrow, one way or another. I love weed. Sativa, haze, indica, whatever, super polyhybrid, under polyhybrid, whatever the fuck they want to call it. I like weed.
I'm saying in chat, we're all like, dude, Bubba Kush, like that's our desert island strain, like for like.
But I mean, everybody's different.
Yeah, everyone's different. Yeah.
But in the end, I'm better than all y'all because I'll smoke Mexican brick tomorrow because I fucking love weed. Like I love weed,
dude. I've gone
stuff without weed, and I am fucking scraping the bowl and smoking that shit. Now that ain't happening 15, 20 years. I'm just saying, if it does though, that's where I'm going. I was stuck in a hospital when I had brain surgery like 2 months ago, and I'm attached to a lead, and I found a cartridge in my backpack that had been there for a year. Dude, you would have thought I found $10 million in fucking a bag of damn whatever in my bag. I was so fucking happy hiding in that bathroom in the hospital. Hit that vape cartridge 3 times. I just really love weed. And as much as I don't like blueberry, if blueberry's all it's on the menu, we smoking that shit tomorrow also. And I'm going to get high off that shit.
Yeah.
I'm just from and we can all have different places. I paid $5,000 for a cup before, and tomorrow, if the seeds are right for me, I'm dropping $1,000 on a pack. I mean, not tomorrow because I got to pay for stem cells to stay alive, but it's because I know what I make off of those things. But once again, we're all different in this stuff. I've met people that will never ever grow autoflowers, and for 18 years, I talked so much shit about autoflowers. I had to take all that shit back last year when I grew some Dasmafesto stuff in the greenhouse that I just tossed down and let it rock out. And I was mind blown, so sometimes it just comes down to trying different things and going through different stuff. The only thing that I've consistently through my career not been able to do is be like microbe alchemist and grow these fucking 18-week strains in flower and shit like that,
Right.
like piff and hazes and things of that nature. It's not that I don't mind smoking them, but man, I get to about week 12 and I'm like, fuck this, this ain't right.
I've never done that, but I did buy the Acapulco Gold backcross ones from Mountain Organics.
Man, I've tried like 30 different times I just had Mr. Bob Himhill's what is it, Josh, my brain, a Panama Red going at week 12. I'm like, all right, fuck it, it's done. It wasn't done. It needed another 6-7 weeks, but in my mind, I'm like, I just, you're taking resource and space for areas that I would
it would be wild though to do some crosses with that Acapulco Gold backcross one, like put it on Skittles or put Skittles on it, like that'd be pretty fucking crazy.
Or even just a super fast flowering plant onto it to just see what happens. I've got a LA Confidential to Royal Kush from Eagle Trees that finishes indoors in 49 days, like 49 days, and throwing something like that on there. So like, hey, let's cut this shit down and see what happens. But guys, I got to get off here running IV medications for my stuff. Shannon keeps pointing at the clock for me on meds, but I appreciate y'all letting me chop it up with y'all tonight. Y'all can keep going. I just wanted to get on here and show love to say like your work on Black Lime Testarossa is created the work that I'm doing now. I've never met you or talked to you before, but that's how work goes. Like some guy in California did shit. Now some hillbilly from Kentucky that's moved to Michigan has now worked it years later into a total different direction. And somebody else has already told me their plans to work it into something else in Ohio. So it's like, boom, there it goes, and I already have plans on taking it into the F2. So that's what
well, before you go and before maybe any more seed plans, like between you two, I have that same BLR bro cut crossed to the white caviar. I think I only have like 10, 12, 15 seeds. So if one of you guys wants to play around with that, you can have it. Obviously, no charge. The only thing I ask,
let Dutch do that because he has a wide open canopy where he can pop unlimited numbers of plants. I'm still on a plant count, even with my license. I'm still on a plant count. But and then he just send me the pheno off that he loves the best, and then I'll fuck around with that one. So
so that's
I'm
still
just
there.
being
I still
honest,
got that in the vault too, the BLR times white caviar. So the same mom that it was against the Testarossa. So I mean, it could be even better than what you got out of the Testarossa. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, man, you all have a good evening. I appreciate y'all letting me chop it up with you.
Pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
I got to run IV meds and then I'll be up for like 5 hours because it wires me the fuck up after I do it and I cannot sleep. So it's about another 10 days of that shit and I'm done. But you guys have a good evening and I will holler at you soon.
For sure, man. Be easy.
Well, shit, man. I think we covered a lot of bases there.
Yeah, no, we did. It's like you look at the time, you're like, man, that was a lot of talking, man. I think just kind of, I guess if you want to call it in closing, it's just again, my goal is just to kind of put forth my knowledge into seed form, if you will, and just get stuff out there for people to play with. Like I feel like it's at a really good price. You're getting 12 or more seeds per pack. And I don't want to say you got nothing to lose because hey, you got to put resources to growing. But I mean, just because the pack's cheap, it doesn't mean the genetics are. I'm just starting out trying to get my stuff out there. So act now before I get famous, and it'll be $300 a pack. But yeah, man, like I said, I'm just bringing two worlds together. Usually, again, like the Line Pop Kush and the OZ Kush is bringing two elite worlds together and like kind of offering a new playground for people to play in, basically like that. So again, take a small chance. Seeds are cheap. You're going to get something good and unique and hopefully different. I mean, that's the biggest thing too, just different than what's out there. Like, I don't know too many other people doing, Lime Pop Kush and Sky Color Kush and, like this Popongo berry. Like, no one's really working with the same shit. With these three in particular. And then the next seed run, or what's going on right now. I mean, there's just going to be more fun stuff coming. And then again, hopefully after that, I'm going to start dipping in to a lot of shit and seeing what's in there so I can give more feedback to people. Yeah, and just keep it moving, just trying to get seeds out there, kind of crowdsource like a little bit. And yeah, man, just fucking just keep taking the Terp game to the next level, basically.
I'm just trying to keep up with chat, but
Yeah, is there anybody like before we cut? Does anybody have any questions or anything
we're all over the place talking about all sorts of stuff. I mean, people are going deep down talking about Skittles down the line. Yeah. So it's hard to follow. I'm doing two chats right now. So
Oh, really?
yeah.
Yeah, because if anybody had any questions, I'd love to answer them. But like any particulars, like about the moms or dads and anything.
They're making fun of my fucking foreskin eyes is what's going on right now. I'm a little too ripped.
That's all right.
So they say. We're not ripped enough, motherfuckers.
That's impossible. Exactly. They're fucking full of shit because that's impossible.
About to hit up another big doobski. But yeah, what's going on, everybody in chat? Anybody got any questions? Anything you want to ask about? I will say, like, for whatever reason, people love to hate on pictures of the tent, dude, and
they love to hate.
They love to hate on pictures of the tent. Yeah, and so
oh yeah, no, people.
Yeah, I gotta
love,
say, like
people love to hate.
That happened in the chat a couple weeks ago, or whatever, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, scroll down a little bit, dude. Like, the guy was growing big, like 4x4, like fucking stout ass plants, like.
Hey, it's, there's like you can't make everybody happy, so don't even try. Like people, that's why, like, outside of Instagram, I don't have any social media. And then even with my Instagram, I mean, I think this is like the first time I ever even put my face to anything. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like, it's just all about the weed and just trying to take it to the next level. Hopefully people understand my vibe. I've gotten great feedback. I've met great people like yourself through Instagram. So like there's so many positives. So it's like to focus on the fucking retards, like just typing away some stupid ass shit. It's like, who cares? Like, they know nothing about me or what I do, what I know, what I'm trying to go for and things like that.
Well, I'm like super mad respect. Like, you gave me some free beans and I pulled some really fucking keeper shit out of it.
And hold on. Sorry to interrupt. And I think that's like, I think that speaks to everything, right? Like, you saw me, I gave you some seeds and like, it wasn't like, oh, like you found shit you liked out of two different varieties. You see what I'm saying? It's like,
right.
It wasn't like that. It's not you kind of liked him. You really liked him, right?
Really
and
like the shit. Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's truly the moral of the story. Like here's firsthand experience of this, right? You met me, I gave you some seeds, you popped it, and you really fucking liked it. Like, that's literally the moral of this story. Like, you did something with it and it helped me, and it's like it helped you, it helped me, and like all this shit. So it's that simple. Like, there's great testimony right there. I mean, it's truly like speaks to the whole process. It's like, dude, you're gonna find something you like.
No, and I appreciate it. Every year you're making shit super affordable. That's what's up, man. Make it, I appreciate your approach to what you're doing in your garden, man. And I just want to, remind folks, like, this is this is an offering, and this is a beautiful fucking offering for a cheap, cheap grab at some killer genetics. If you're interested in some Skittles shit, or and it's like fucking hop on this shit, and yeah. I try not to be a salesperson. I feel really awkward when I do try to sell stuff. But
right. But again, you don't.
I appreciate
You have
doing.
it, but like the thing is, you don't necessarily have to just like sell it, because the selling, it's like you have the best example, which is a firsthand experience, right?
Yeah,
It's not just like, oh, like this guy had some good buds, or hey, he talked a good game. It's like, no, actually, no, I got his seeds and it was really good. It's like you don't really have to sell it. Like you can just tell your story,
Right.
and that's what's cool about it, basically. So hey, to all the people that don't like tent indoor, blah blah blah. Hey, if I could grow outdoors, I would. I can't.
Right.
So you know what? I'm making the best of my situation. I'm doing what I can with what I got, and that's all I can do.
Well, I grow indoors. Like I'm from indoors. I'm from the Northwest, where indoors rules, and we do really good indoors here. And I just moved outdoors 4 years ago, and everyone thinks of me as doing outdoors, because that's like what I do on Instagram. But in reality, I make my selections outdoors, and then I do my crosses indoors. That's exactly how I do it. And that's how I have to legally do it. Like my legal garden is a recreational garden, and I can make selections out there, but I sell myself plants as a medical. It's really weird, as a medical patient, and then I make them in my medical garden indoors, and then I can do those under my hemp license and sell seeds legally. That's the whole silliest fucking process. But
well, and the thing is that outside of California, mostly everybody grows indoors. So wouldn't you want to see like what it does indoors? You know what I'm saying? I'm sure the majority of people, I'm sure the majority of people buying my seeds are going to be growing them indoors. So the whole thing's kind of just like a little silly to begin with, especially too when you're doing these Skittles crosses. You want to fucking see what they do indoors, because that's when they're going to throw weird shit. They're not going to people don't realize like the propensity to throw weird shit is more indoors than it is outdoors. Yeah. I mean, if nobody has any questions, I guess we go ahead and wrap it up. B.
Yeah, man. I think that's we can wrap it up. But I really appreciate fucking your time, dude. I appreciate what you've been up to, and for sure, shit, appreciate your work, man. I got to.
I'm gonna have to come up there.
If you ever make it up, dude, please come, man. I think you would enjoy, because I've taken that little fucking section of what you did and kind of taken it in my own path, and I'm doing shit on it with, you know what I mean? Like, I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, so, no, that's
I appreciate awesome. It, dude. It was a fucking serendipitous meeting.
But that was my whole point, was hey, I know what I'm talking about. Like, try this shit, and you did. So that's the biggest thing there. It's like, I can give seeds to anybody, but it's like that person actually needs to fucking pop them and do something with them. So like, I appreciate you fucking, taking the chance. So that's awesome. Yeah, and obviously just appreciate fucking talking terps. Like I said, man, it's something I could do all day long, just talking weed. I'm kind of, even though again I'm 36, but I'm kind of old school with the weed knowledge and things like that. So got a lot of things under my belt. Can speak to a lot of things. So it's always fun just talking weed with weed people.
For sure, man. It's been super great, dude. And for everybody listening in chat, if folks want to pop over to the Instagram, I think I'll just end this live here on YouTube, and we'll pop over to Instagram, and we can just bullshit, and smoke a beer together. So,
I got to get ready for bed, man.
Right now, yeah, you're getting up and busting ass in the morning.
Yeah,
but appreciate everybody that's been hanging out. It's been
thank you everybody who's joined. I really appreciate it more than more than you know. Again, like I just do this shit for my own pleasure. I never started doing this because I wanted to make money or XYZ. Um, although, you know, it's nice to profit off your passion, but at the end of the day, if there was no money involved, I'd still be breeding because it's fucking fun and I enjoy it and I want to elevate you know, the seed game, the terp game, and things like that. So I mean, it truly it's a work of passion. You know, not here to fucking scam people or bamboozle people. Again, I'm up front if things haven't been tested. It's on the packaging, and all that type of stuff. So again, man, take a chance on some good shit, and you'll be happy.
Right on. How do folks find you? What's your Instagram handle?
At Urban Terp Farm 707.
Anywhere else that they can find you?
Fucking Santa Rosa, California, man. Pull up.
Fuck yeah, dude. Well, I think folks know I'm Joshua Dutch Blooms. I do the Regenerative Seed Co. That's where we got stuff on regenerativeseeds.com.
Yeah, anybody in Arizona, I go out to Arizona a lot. My parents live in Arizona. So if anyone ever wants to fucking meet up, smoke me out. I don't want to buy weed. I don't buy weed from stores, so I'm not buying. Arizona's recreational now. I don't know if you knew that. But yeah, if anyone is in the chat and it's from Arizona, man, hit me up. I'll throw you some seeds. Fucking, we'll smoke when I go out to Arizona. My parents live out there, so I'm out there at least like 4 or 5 times a year. All right,
Oh
everybody.
yeah. Peace out, everybody.
Yeah,
Have
I
a good night.
appreciate it, man. You